Have you ever wondered how the Vikings, a group known for their ferocity and exploration, came to be? The story of these fierce warriors and explorers begins in the late 8th century, in the rugged, icy lands of Scandinavia. Here, in this harsh environment, the Vikings first made their mark as diligent farmers and shrewd traders, living off the land and the fruits of their labor. However, it wasn't long before they broadened their horizons, spurred on by an insatiable curiosity and a knack for innovation. The creation of the longship, a masterpiece of naval architecture, was a game-changer. With these swift and sturdy vessels, the Vikings ventured beyond their familiar shores, exploring, trading, and yes, raiding. Their reputation quickly spread, and with it, their influence. Thus began the era of Vikings, a period marked by exploration, conquest, and cultural exchange. This was a time when the world became a smaller place and the Vikings, once simple farmers and traders, became the stuff of legend. But what was life like for these Norse seafarers? Let's dive into the world of the Vikings, a world steeped in complexity and sophistication. The Vikings, despite their reputation for being fierce warriors and ruthless raiders, had a societal structure that was remarkably egalitarian. In stark contrast to many societies of their time, Viking women enjoyed significant rights and freedoms. They could own property, divorce their husbands, and even become warriors themselves, known as shield maidens. The Vikings were not only warriors but also traders, explorers, and farmers. Their society was made up of various social classes. At the top were the jarls or nobles, who were wealthy landowners and warriors. Then came the carls, who were free peasants and craftsmen. At the bottom were the thralls, who were slaves captured during raids. Religion played a pivotal role in the Viking way of life. They worshipped a pantheon of Norse gods, each with their unique attributes and stories. Odin, the Allfather, was the god of wisdom and war, revered by warriors. Thor, the god of thunder, was the protector of mankind, armed with his mighty hammer, Mjolnir. And Freya, the goddess of love, beauty, and fertility, was worshipped by both men and women alike. One of the most captivating aspects of Viking culture was their love for storytelling. The Vikings didn't write books, they spun sagas. These sagas were epic tales passed down orally from generation to generation, filled with heroic deeds, divine interventions, and sometimes a dash of magic. They were not just entertainment, but also a way to teach morals and preserve history. Their lives were not all about raids and battles. They were also artisans, creating intricate jewelry, carving ornate wooden statues, and weaving beautiful textiles. They celebrated numerous festivals throughout the year, marking the changing of the seasons, honoring their gods, and feasting with their kin. Despite their reputation as ruthless raiders, Vikings led a complex and sophisticated lifestyle. Their society was one of contrasts, where brutal warriors coexisted with skilled artisans, where women could be both homemakers and warriors, and where their love for storytelling preserved their history and culture for generations to come. How did the Viking era, a time of exploration and discovery, come to an end? That's a question that has fascinated historians for centuries. The Viking Age, which spanned roughly from the late 8th to the early 11th century, ended due to a combination of factors. One of the key reasons was the conversion of Viking lands to Christianity. The adoption of a new religion meant a shift in cultural values and practices that were incompatible with the Viking way of life. It was a gradual process, but by the 11th century, most of the Viking lands had transitioned to Christianity. Another critical factor was the establishment of centralized kingdoms. The Vikings, known for their independent spirit, found it increasingly difficult to maintain their autonomy in the face of growing political centralization. Lastly, climate change played a significant role. The cooling of the climate made it harder for the Vikings to sustain their lifestyle, which was heavily dependent on farming and seafaring. The Viking Age may have ended, but their legacy remains apparent in our modern world. So, who were the Vikings, really? We've stepped back in time to unravel the enigma of these legendary seafarers. We've walked in the shoes of these not just raiders but also explorers, traders, and settlers. We've discovered a society that was far more complex than often portrayed, with a unique social structure and rich cultural practices. We've journeyed through the Viking way of life, understanding their practices, their beliefs, their thirst for exploration, and their indomitable spirit. We've seen how they left their mark on the lands they ventured to, and how they shaped the course of history. We've also bore witness to the end of the Viking Age, a significant turning point in European history. The ripples of this shift can still be felt today, in the enduring influence of the Vikings in modern culture and society. The Vikings, far from being mere barbarians, were a complex and fascinating people whose influence can still be felt today.